So this week on Weichert Wednesday, we want to do a little bit of education. A lot of you probably heard or may not have heard about lawsuits against the National Association of Realtors. I'm going to give my opinion about that. This is my opinion. This is not to be taken as fact. We'd like to hear your opinion at the bottom also, if you've got one. But kind of explain that, because a lot of people don't understand exactly. There's a lot of realtors that don't understand exactly what's happening with that. We in Tennessee do not have any type of litigation against National Association of Realtors, but there are in several states. So I want to kind of go through that and give you an idea of what it is. So in a typical real estate transaction, obviously you have a seller, right? And so typically if the seller hires an agent, when they sit down, they talk about a lot of different things. They're going to talk about how to market the property, what the property's value is, all of those different things. And the realtor's bringing their expertise to look after the interest of the homeowner, okay? In that process, they're signing a listing agreement. And in that listing agreement, they are determining the agent's commission, okay? So just for an example, in this transaction, let's say that's 6%, okay? So then when the realtor places the house on the market in the MLS or however they do it, then they're going to offer a cooperating commission. Typically, we call that a 3-3 split. If it's a 5%, that would be a 2-5 and a 2-5, however they do it. So we split the commission, and this 3% is for the listing agent. This 3% is for the buyer's agent, whoever brings the buyer, okay? So, but the seller is paying the whole 6%, and it's going to the listing agent, and they're giving it that split to the buyer's agent. So you have a buyer, right? And they have an agent, okay? Now, what the lawsuit says basically is Mr. Buyer here, we'll put his buyer hat on, okay? Mr. Buyer has no way of negotiating this commission, right? Which adds to the cost of the house. That's a fair argument. And obviously it is a fair argument because they have won one of these lawsuits. So what we're seeing happening as a result is we are seeing houses listed on the MLS with $1 buyer commission. So the buyer's agent is only going to receive $1 in this transaction. And they may show them 100 houses. They may work hundreds of hours. We're also seeing where there is no commission and the buyer's agent has to negotiate with the seller their commission, okay? Because they're not being represented by a seller's agent. So what does that all mean? Well, it means for seller's agents, listing agents, not a whole lot of difference. But for a buyer's agent, they're having to ensure prior to working with people and going and showing houses that I am assured of a commission. And we do that through what's called a buyer's representation agreement. In the state of Tennessee, we are mandated that we have an agreement between the buyer's agent and the buyer. It's called a buyer's representation agreement. And in that agreement, it says, if the seller of any particular property that they're gonna buy does not offer the 3% or a buyer's agent commission, then the buyer themselves will pay 2.5, 3, 2, whatever, 2. And that's agreed upon before we go and look at houses. So it's changing that. Now, what are the unforeseen changes that's going to happen in the market because of it? Well, we're already seeing, obviously, houses listed, residential property, land, anything, being listed with no buyer's agent commission. It's also going to then make sure prior to going and working with someone that the buyer's agent is having this discussion and going through the process of signing the agreement. So the buyers know, we're going to look at this property today. It does not offer a buyer's agent commission. So if you make an offer on this, you're going to be adding 2.5% to that transaction to pay your buyer's agent. Now, the other thing I really see happening, in my opinion, is not a whole lot, because I am primarily a listing agent. I'm not going to change anything that I'm doing. I'm going to continue to offer that 3 or 2.5% to the buyer's agent. Why? It's in the best interest of the seller, because offering that commission brings you highly qualified agents that have highly qualified buyers that they have pre-qualified and know they can buy that property and they're a good fit for that property. So we are still, as listing agents, going to offer that. But there are companies out there offering discounted commissions, which is good, yes, but in the end, you get what you pay for. You always get what you pay for. So just trying to give you a little information about what's going on in the market and how this is affecting the market. If you have any questions, feel free to call me, 423-967-4312. Thanks, and y'all have a great week.